great way to learn programming, especially a new language or new processes, are to look at the code of another programmer. And especially if you can watch that programmer develop their code and have them explain it as they go through it, that is the ideal situation. So that's what I want to do with this video, is walk you through how I would create a simple triangle calculator. Here's the triangle calculator running in the iPhone simulator, and I can enter a side A and a side B. Click the calculate button and find the hypotenuse is 5 units, the area is 6, and the perimeter is 12. So of course you might remember from your high school geometry, to find the hypotenuse of a right triangle, it is a squared plus b squared. We take the square root of that and we get 5. So 4 squared is 16, 3 squared is 9, 9 plus 16 is 25, the square root is 5. The area is half of side A times side B. So that's 12, and the perimeter then is A plus B plus C, or the hypotenuse. So 4 plus 3 plus 5 is 12. So what I want to demonstrate with this project is how to add a new page and use it as a startup page. So we're going to create a new project, and then we're going to add another page in and change the main page designation. I'm going to demonstrate the use of a stack layout. We've already seen that, but we'll use a stack layout in this project. Show how to create named views that we can refer to in code. And some of the views we're going to utilize are an entry view, a button view, and label views. And all of those will be named. We'll use some labels that aren't named as well. And I want to demonstrate how to code a button using a delegate. So with that, let's go into Xamarin Studio. Okay, so I'm in Xamarin Studio on the Mac. I'm going to click New Solution. We're going to create a Xamarin.Forms app. So it's cross-platform. I'm going to do Android and iOS. Click Next. I need to give it a name. Since this video is called O2B, I'll start with the name of O2B, and let's call this Triangle Calculator. My target platforms are Android and iOS. I'm going to use a portable class library. I could use a shared library. It really wouldn't matter in this case. There's my project name. Choose where I'm going to save it and click Create. So here's my project. So it's adding in all the packages. So it'll take just a minute or so, and then we'll be ready to go. Okay, so everything's been created. So in the triangle calculator, this is my shared code. We have O2B triangle calculator.cs. This is the shared code file of my form or my page. And this was exactly what we created in previous videos. Just out of the box, it's going to create a content page with a stack layout with one label called Welcome to Xamarin.Forms. And I have my Droid and iOS projects. Right now, the iOS is the default. If I were simply to test this, it builds my project, launches the iOS simulator, and there is our Welcome to Xamarin.Forms. So what I'm going to do first is add a new page. So I'm going to right click on the O2B triangle calculator and choose Add, New File. And we're going to add a Forms content page. Right now we're building all of our pages with C# code. Later on, we'll see how we can build pages with XAML code. It's sort of like working in HTML. For now, we're just going to use content page. I'm going to give this a name. Let's call this calculator. So there's my new calculator page, calculator.cs. I'm going to open that up. Now you'll see here that it has built a new page, content page, with a stack layout, and it's got a label called Hello Content Page. So before we had Welcome to Xamarin.Forms, I want to use this page now as my startup page. And to do that, I'm simply going to go back to my O2B triangle calculator. And where we have main page equals new content page, I'm going to get rid of that whole block of code, everything included in the content page, and say main page equals new calculator. In my statement with a semicolon, I've got a closing bracket and a semicolon that I failed to delete earlier, so I'm just get rid of that. And now I'm going to run my project in the simulator. And it says up here, hello content page. It's running into the bar, the status bar at the top. And so I wanted to add some padding. We can see that's no longer using the Welcome to Xamarin.Forms page. Okay, so let's go back to Calculator CS. This is now the page we're using. So we said we wanted to add some padding. So within the stack layout, I'm going to add padding equals new, and we're going to give it a new thickness. Now if we want to add 20 pixels all the way around, the first one is the padding on the left, top, right, and bottom. Now because of the status bar at the top of the iOS, I'm going to change the top value here to device.onPlatform. And IntelliSense shows us we're going to give it the iOS measurement, the Android, and the Win phone. So I want 40 for iOS and 20 for the other two. Now so we can see the impact of that, I'm going to click the play button and test it on the simulator. And you can see our hello content is no longer interfering with the status bar. It's dropped down 40 units. Now a stack layout positions other views as its children in a stack, either vertically or horizontally. The default is it's going to be vertically, and we can start that vertical stack either at the top, which would be the start, center, or the bottom, which would be the end. Those are default values. I'm going to go ahead and specify them here. So the vertical options is going to equal layout options dot start. That'll begin our stack at the very top. And then our orientation, we use stack orientation dot vertical. As I said, those two values actually are the default, so it would have done the same thing if I didn't specify them. But I'm going to show you here the options you have in the stack layout. Now for our children, we have a single label, which right now says hello content page. I'm going to change that to triangle calculator. And I'm going to add some more properties here. One of which is I'm going to change the font size. So font size equals, and here we're going to get a named size from the device itself. So we can use device.getNamedSize. And you see the IntelliSense here is the name size and the target element. So our name size here, we're going to get that from a enumerator called name size. And we're going to do medium. And then my target is a type of, in this case, it's a label. I want to do one more thing here in terms of properties for this label is let's also make the text bold. So font attributes equals font attributes dot bold. Okay, so that would be our label. I'm going to put a comma after our curly bracket because we're going to add another label, and I'm simply going to take this label, copy and paste, and then we're going to enter some instructions, which is going to be enter sides A and B, then click the calculate button. I'm going to make the name size on this one small. And I don't want to set it to bold. I'm going to get rid of that attribute. Okay, now the next view we're going to use is an entry label, or an entry view. And I'm going to put that above the content because I want to make it a named entry view. So I'm going to say entry. We're going to name this one txt side A. It's going to equal a new entry. Put my curly brackets in, and then we'll create our attributes for this. We're going to use the placeholder, which is going to give us a default value inside the entry view. And I'll say enter side A. Let's capitalize the E. And I'm going to specify a keyboard to use. This will be the on-screen keyboard. I only want them to enter a number, so I'm going to make this numeric. Put a comma there. I'm going to copy this. So we're adding a second entry. This one's going to be side B. Enter side B. And for now, I'm going to get rid of the comma there. And back in my children, now I can just say use txt side A and txt side B. So let's test this. So my error here is this should be a semicolon and a semicolon there. Let's rebuild this. There's our app running on the emulator. And here's our interface thus far. We've got our label saying triangle calculator. I probably want a space in there. There's my smaller label using small text. Here's our two entry views. Okay, so let's put a space in here between triangle and calculator. And now we're going to add a button. Now, I still like to use Hungarian notation in pretty much any language I'm working in. It's not common in Xamarin to do this. So we're going to create a button. And the text of our button is going to be calculate. And I'm going to create some labels. I'm going to name these labels because we refer to them in code. So we'll have a label named LBL hypotenuse. And its text is going to equal hypotenuse equals question mark. Save a little time. I'm going to copy that, paste another label. This one will be LBL area. Text will be area equals question mark. And our final label here will be perimeter. And our text will be perimeter. All right, let's test that. So nothing shows up here on our triangle calculator as far as the button and those three labels because we forgot to add those into the children of our stack layout. And like I said, I get warning messages here that I've assigned these, but I've never used them. So let's use them. We're going to come down here to our children. Let's add in btn calculate. LBL hypotenuse. LBL area, and LBL perimeter. And I'll test again. We named our button btn calc. So I'm getting an error here. Just fix that. And now we can see we're getting our button and our labels. I can click the calculate button, but it doesn't do anything. So next step is to code our button. So back in the code, I'm going to add a reference to btn calc. I'm going to access the clicked event, and we're going to use a delegate to create our code. So in this method, I want some double values for sides A, B, and C, our area, and our perimeter. A will equal double dot parse, and we're going to take txt side A. We're going to get the text value of that. Do the same thing for B. And then C, we're going to use the formula of a squared plus b squared, taking the square root of that. So I'm going to take math dot square root, math dot pow, which we can take a and square it, plus math dot pow, we'll take b and square it. That'll give us our side C. I'm going to put that in our label called a label.hypotenuse, setting the text property to c.toString, and I'm going to get 2 decimals. So that's the N2. The area is equal to A times B, and we're going to divide that by 2. And the perimeter is equal to A plus B plus C. And we just need to display those in our labels. LBL area equals, LBL area dot text equals area dot toString. Again, I'll take 2 decimal places. Okay, so there is our button code, our method for the button. Let's test this again. And I misspelled pow. And I meant instead of LBL perimeter here to simply use perim. So here now is our triangle calculator. I can put 4 for side A, 3 for side B, click calculate. And I want to change my labels here a little bit because it's just saying 5, 6, and 12. I need to make those a little more distinguished. So we'll come back to our code. I'm going to change the hypotenuse label to say hypotenuse equals, and we'll concatenate the value of c.toString. Do the same thing here for area. And the same thing for perimeter. And let's try that. I can say I misspelled perimeter. We'll come back and fix that. So again, enter side A is 4, side B is 3. Now we're getting hypotenuse equals 5, area equals 6, and perimeter equals 12. If I made these decimals, say this is 9.5, this one is 3.5, calculate, and now we're seeing the decimals rounded off to 2 decimal places. So the last thing I'm going to do here is just simply fix my spelling of perimeter. So I also want to test this on an Android device, so I'm going to set my Droid project as the startup project, and we'll test it on the Android simulator. So here's our project running on the simulator for Android. Again, I'm going to type in 4 and 3, click calculate, and we're told the hypotenuse is 5, the area is 6, and the perimeter is 12. So that's our project of creating a triangle calculator cross-platform for iOS and Android using Xamarin.Forms.